Hello guys, it's Self Pinkelf and today I'm sharing a very important podcast about Kingbdogz talking about Warden and Deepdark. The link of the full podcast will be in the description. Go and check it out. And now just chill, relax and enjoy the content.
Warden is almost playing into that a little bit. Do you wanna tell us what the genesis of the Warden was?
You're absolutely spot on, and I mean I've talked about it before that the Warden for me is inspired by the first night that you play Minecraft. But I think to be a little bit more specific, I think it's inspired by the first night of Minecraft, but trying to bring that experience back, but at a much later stage in your progression. Once you get all of the best enchantments and netherite armor and netherite weapons and all of these crazy things in the game, which have gotten slowly and slowly more powerful over the game's development, you're kind of invincible. You're not quite invincible, but you're pretty close to it. And I'm wanting to bring back that feeling, but when you have achieved all of those things as well. Almost like a constant that will, no matter what level you're at in terms of progression, this is always something that you have to fear. And I think Minecraft has always been a little bit about fear. It's almost about having this, it's like the contrast between what seems to be somewhat of a beautiful, normal world that suddenly has so many surprises in it in terms of fearful opportunities. And I love that aspect of Minecraft. It's something, as I said, it's the hook, it's the reason why I played the game. And so I wanted to experiment with how to bring that back, and the Warden was at least the answer so far, but I did experiment with other things as well, other different creature ideas, and I think I'm pretty happy with the Warden in the end because it is something you can avoid, whereas I don't think it would be fair to add something which is super scary, but at all costs you can, it will just kill you no matter what. With the Warden, at least, through its system of being blind and not having, only being able to detect things through sound and vibrations, at the very least you can be super quiet, and then it becomes more of like a stealth mission in the Deepdark. And that's another thing for me, is that the Deepdark is inspired by, what if we just had an entire biome where it's a stealth mission? That was the core for me. How can we change the gameplay so much in one area versus all the other areas of the game? That's another reason why we also don't have other mobs in that biome as well. We don't have creepers, we don't have zombies, we only have wardens. That makes it very different.
I think it's an incredibly ambitious thing to do, to add so much in Caves and Cliffs to implement stuff like this, and that you're also making it part of an experience that involves a creature like the Warden. Without going too deep into the specifics, I think when players saw the Warden, a lot of them were very keen on, well, if that's a really powerful enemy, I want to defeat it in some way. And from the look at it that we got at Minecraft Live, which was of course a fairly early iteration of it, it seemed like it was, it picked up speed as it lumbered towards the player, but it was mostly a melee-focused enemy. And so, the immediate thought as a player who has some experience with PvE is, all I need to do is place a row of blocks in front of it, or maybe pillar up a few blocks, and then shoot it with a bow until it dies. So without going into specifics, do you have a plan for that? Is player strategy taken into account when you think about how the Warden can defend itself? And to what extent does that end up getting balanced to still make it a position that players can ever win?
Yes, there is a plan. Unfortunately for everyone. The Warden, I would say, and again, I'm trying not to promise anything here, but
sure, I
feel like the Warden has to be a little smarter than other mobs because it has so much sensory deprivation compared to, for example, a zombie. A zombie can see you and just attack. It doesn't need to hear things, it doesn't need to sense vibrations. Whereas the Warden, if all it can do is just hear you, right? It's pretty easy to just sneak and never make a noise ever. And likewise, it's pretty easy to just, build a few blocks up and create a pillar and just attack it from above. None of these things are going to work. That's all I'm going to say.
I love that, though. I really like the fact that that's the kind of thing that's being taken into account.
It's so challenging as a design task, working on something so different within the Minecraft environment, and even the tech challenges, because I did a lot of the tech myself with a lot of collaboration and advice from other people in the Java team. I just think it went through so many iterations, and one of the things that I am so excited to do is when the Warden finally comes out, show all of the old iterations that I had, because you cannot imagine how wildly different it used to be. There was a point where the Warden originally was called a Stalker, actually. and it used to have like this like white flesh with like holes in it, and it used to be even like grimmer and gorier, and we had to tone it down because it was too much. But there's more, and I can't wait to show all of that, because it's been a journey to get to where it is now, to find that perfect balance between this is scary, but it's not going to make children never play the game ever again.
I'm really looking forward. I think I'm probably looking forward to that as much as I am the Warden, now that you've mentioned that, because it sounds like you went from Pan's Labyrinth to Studio Ghibli, and somehow found a kind of sweet spot in between. And I think for a start that goes to show, going back to the Grimstone Deep Slate comparison, like just how much difference the name can make, because Warden inherently implies that it is somehow guarding something, whereas Stalker obviously has other connotations that you might want to avoid in a Minecraft context anyway.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but is still like such an evocative name in itself. And before we wrap up here, because you said the Warden has gone through so many iterations, like I assume that you've had to collaborate quite closely with the art team on the look of the Warden. So what was the process there? Because I imagine you're working on the tech side of things, but they have to come up with the visuals. How have you guided them through that process?
Yeah, actually so much, especially with the Warden. I collaborated with both Mariana, who is one of our concept artists, and Jasper, who was the lead artist for Minecraft. So Mariana in particular, we kind of just sat together and just kind of like, first of all, I established what I was trying to achieve creative vision wise. I of course laid out that this is meant to be scary, but also it's meant to be a little bit charming, a little bit cute, but not so much that people look at it and they just laugh. Like that was very important to me. While it should be charming and it should be a little bit cute, I don't want people to not take it seriously. And I also don't want it to, be too scary either. So it was a really tricky balance. But a lot of it was basically just Mariana would try a few ideas. She would show it to me and Jasper. We would give some feedback. Either I would give some direction of where we might head. Jasper might comment on, this concept is really cool, but it's really hard to put in block form. And it was just a lot of back and forth. And to Mariana's credit, what I really loved about the process working with her was that she would create like entire cards of like just 50 different designs of what the Warden could look like, and every single one of them were just brilliant. Like every one I was like, oh my god, that could be a mob in the game. And it was really hard to choose from like, which is the direction we want to go, because these all look actually fantastic in their own different ways. We will get a look at the Warden at some point, I'm sure, and hopefully you'll be happy to come back onto the show and talk to us about the experience of meeting the Warden in game, because we all can't wait here, but we will have to, and it's going to be worth it. That's pretty much all we have time for this episode of the Spawn Chunks. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
And yes, that was it. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and got full info about the Warden. So that is all in today's video. Hope you like my content and consider subscribing if you love short and informative content about Minecraft, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.